but you have to observe if the patient is becoming better or not. This is the general process of healing. If the disease is an immediate one, if you think that it will be cured gradually in course of some days, it is wrong and the patient dies. For example, if a patient is having cholera morbus or toxic fever, which is called septic fevers, or cerebrospinal meningitis, if you think that he will be better within 2 or 3 weeks, he will die within 48 hours. If your healing were to be correct, the patient should show signs of recovery within 6 hours. Then you can continue the treatment. If not, you should plainly tell them that a cure is not possible through you to the patient. You should know the purview of the disease and know within how long a duration the patient should be cured. This is one method, and a caution should be made to you as a healer to have a thorough knowledge of using your thought power upon the patient. You should be able to know and understand that the living body contains power and great energy moving in the body, which is causing all the movements of the body, your movements which are voluntary and involuntary. If you move your hand and catch something, that is called voluntary movement, and that requires some power to move the hand. If your heart and lungs are working automatically, it is called involuntary movement, and that requires a continuous application of energy and force in you. Like this, at first you should understand that there is a great force working in you continuously, and there is also a continuous supply of this force into you. You should know how it is supplied to you and where from it is supplied. Some people believe that their food is supplying them this energy. If you also believe like this, you can never become a healer, because it is great ignorance to believe that food is giving you the energy. It is neither the food nor the drink that is giving energy, because the food and drink work only as fuel in the combustion engine. The fuel can be utilized in the combustion engine only when the combustion engine is working. So there should be another source of energy and force which is making the combustion engine work and use the fuel for the machine. If you make a toy motor car without any machines of the motor car in it, and if you produce a great channel into the motor car, and if you pour petroleum in it, the motor car will not move, because the petroleum cannot be used as fuel, and there is no mechanism in it which can use the petroleum as fuel. Similarly, if you bring very valuable vitaminized food full of proteins and vitamins and everything for the mechanism to give strength, and put it before a person sitting in a chair and say, "Sir, you take it," the person will be smiling and he does not take it, because he is dead a few minutes ago. And even if you put the food into his mouth with a spoon, it is as good as pouring the petroleum in the toy car. So if you believe that food and drink is the cause of the force and energy in our body, it is sheer ignorance, and you cannot be a healer. Where from the energy comes into our body? You have to question where from electricity comes into the generator. Same answer is there to the human body, and same answer is there to the electrical generator. This is a question which the electrical engineer cannot answer, because the electrical engineer can assemble a generator, make a plant of electricity, and as a result electricity begin to flow from it. But the scientist knows as much as you and I know about where from the electricity flows. The answer is that electricity comes from space into the generator, because space is a lake of electricity. So we have to go into another science to know this, and that another science is not known by the universities today. Very recently the scientists are trying to suspect that there is something in space. Previously, the scientists believed that the space was a big vacuum. This is because our mind is filled with the great vacuum of ignorance. Even now, there are professors of science who still believe that space is a vacuum. But space is a pool of something, but the pool is constant and eternal. It cannot be exhausted because every moment the same water of electricity is returning immediately to the lake. What we call electricity is tapped from space, and before it goes into the space once again, we are using it to give us light and heat and sound and telephone and radio. You can ask electricity to be useful to you, but you cannot purchase some electricity to go home, or you cannot steal some electricity into your pocket. This is because when we touch electricity, instead of taking electricity into our pocket, it takes us into its pocket. That is what is called dying with electric shock. So you will understand that electricity is space. Space made active is electricity, and electricity made potential is space. Now you can understand where from the energy and force is coming into your body. Your body is also a generator to make the electricity manifest. The mechanism of your heart and lungs is exactly like the mechanism of a generator. It has the same alternation of currents, that is, you call the inhalation and exhalation, and the coming of the blood into the heart and going the blood from the heart into the body. This is what we find in an electrical generator exactly. You will find magnetism and electricity alternating, and that alternation is made continuously by rotating a wheel, and that is what we call a generator. So your constitution is exactly like that of a generator. See how foolish this statement is. See, there is a young boy reading in a school. He had a good friend, Mr. Jack. After 1 year, the friend invited him to his house. He went to the house of Jack for the first time, and he saw the grandfather of Jack, and he said, "Sir, you are exactly like your grandson." But the fact is, the grandson is exactly like the grandfather, and it is not true that the grandfather is exactly like the grandson. Similarly, the electrical generator is made exactly like your constitution, and it is not true to say that your constitution is exactly like the electric generator. This is because the electrical generator is made long after your generator is made. A human being is required to elect an electrical generator, and the human being is first made, and the electrical generator is then made by the human being. Then the truth is the generator works exactly with the same principle as your generator is. Now close your eyes and observe your lungs respiration, and observe the movement of the blood circulation, and understand that something is being generated in you, and the space where you are sitting or standing is a big lake of that energy or force. And when it is made active, you call it your life force. When it is passive, you call it space. When your body stands in space, the space in your body is active. And when you come out, the same space becomes passive, and we call it space. This is the truth of it. And your process of knowing this is called meditation in its true sense, not in the sense we use the word meditation blindly. Many times we close our eyes and say, "I am in meditation." It is not true. When you are able to say you are in meditation, it is not meditation. If you can assure others that you are sleeping, that's not sleep. If you loudly assure the other person that you are observing silence, it's not silence. Because silence can be lived, and silence cannot be propagated. When you propagate it, it becomes noise, and there is no silence. Similarly, meditation is something which you can experience. And now you will understand where from the energy comes. The energy comes to you from the same space where you are standing. But it is quite natural for the human brain to be unnatural. That is, we are not capable of believing truths. We want to complicate things and then understand. When we once know that We are drawing our energy from the space where we are standing. Instinctively, mind refuses to believe because it wants some mechanism to complicate itself and others. And that complication is what we find in the textbooks of healing. They will give you many diagrams and many parts and many names of the parts until your mind begins to vertigo. Then you begin to believe that there is some healing force. But the real scientists who lived in the ancient times, they have given simple, straight scientific methods in the scriptures. Unless we sacrifice the complication of our minds, we can't be able to, we are not able to believe the simplicity of their writings. You can very easily meditate how energy is being extracted from space into your body and how a strong thought can obstruct the inflow of energy when wrongly created, but at the same time, a strong thought can induce energy properly in a person suffering and make him also healthy and remove the stuck up of energy. Therefore, the first warning is observe your belief whether it is healthy or not. If your belief about the energy and the supply of energy and the source of energy is healthy, then your healing will be successful. But if your belief is not based on faith, and if it is only a psychological belief, you can stop healing because you can never heal. There are two types of belief in the human being. One is true belief and the other is psychological belief. Psychological belief is we try to believe many things. True belief is what we believe without any reason. We have to understand between the two and go to the scriptures to know the difference. Because the true psychology of self and mind is given only in the ancient scriptures and all the pages of modern psychology textbooks. They contain nothing except analyzing your problems and giving us reasons of our sufferings without a single solution in any page of the textbook. So we don't want textbooks with problems. We want textbooks which contain solutions. In that case, all the modern psychology books are to be thrown into the ocean. They contain only analysis and reasons of suffering. Go to the scriptures and everyone is given in the form of a solution and not a problem. You will understand how the energy flows through you and not from you. If you believe that the energy is flowing from you into the patient, a great danger is always awaiting you because you are emptying your constitution of the energy you are having and your energy is being spent to heal the patient and you will be filled with diseases because gradually the energy becomes less and less in you. This is not because you are healing the patient but because of your foolishness to believe that the energy is from you instead of knowing that the energy is through you. It is the auto-suggestion that makes you that creates many diseases in your constitution. Since the human will is very strong and creative, it can create all diseases when you believe that you are curing the diseases. And it can heal all your diseases when you believe that healing is done through you, not by you. This difference should be noticed. Many people jump into healing without making a proper understanding of the mechanism. They begin to heal and they begin to grow sick. After some time, they become nervous patients and hysterical patients. And they say, we take all the disease of others. In this creation, till today, it is not possible for anyone to take the disease of any other person. It is because nature is not as foolish as we are. Nature is God-made and man is nature-made, but thoughts are man-made. Therefore, thoughts can be foolish. Nature cannot be foolish. Nature can never permit us to take the disease of anyone, including infectious disease. Unless there is something in our body to receive infection, you will never receive infection from anyone because all the virus and microbes are existing in space and air. And every respiration, we are inhaling millions and millions of microbes and viruses. If the microbe theory and infection theory were to be correct and scientific, we should die as a child after inhaling the first breath. So the theory of infection is as absurd and unscientific as the fairy tales of a little boy. But unfortunately we believe because we are little children in the eyes of science still. We should understand that there is no infection unless we harbor it. Understand the truth that there are no enemies in the world except when you create. There is no man who is a husband unless you marry him. There is no woman in the world who is wife by birth. unless you marry her. Just like husband or wife, infection is also something which you have to permit. By committing great offenses and blunders, with you permit disease to be transformed from one person to another. We should know the fundamental truths of nature.
True.
And make a repetition and understanding of the truths, so that instead of trying to belief should take place in us. Belief should take a strong step in us. Belief should come to you. Then only it becomes faith. If you try to believe, it is false. A right understanding only can bring faith to you. A forced belief remains only a psychological belief, which has its undercurrent disbelief. So while you are touching a patient on the head or body, if your thought that the current of force is going into the patient is only a belief, the inner mind is suspecting if the belief is true or not, then healing never takes place. It is like yourself trying to drive the motor car while your wife is quarreling with you and trying to stop it. The driving never takes place. Every time you try to start the motor car, your wife is stopping it and pulling your hands and legs away from the driving. Such will be your condition if your belief is only a belief and not a faith. The upper mind will be believing and the lower mind will be his wife, which is called a doubt. Then no use of experimenting with healing for 10 years or 20 years. So perfect your mechanism first, then begin to heal. Understand the second law of nature. Thought produces a channel for force to flow. This is a scientific truth, and you have to reach this truth first by knowing, then by believing, and then until it becomes a faith. Unless you know this fact, there is no healing. Understand that whenever you produce a thought, the thought produces a channel in space, and through the channel energy flows and it is retained. The channel is retained as long as the thought to permit it. Then if you say that today the process of healing is completed, your idea that it is completed will wipe out the channel. And the energy stops flowing in that direction. When you observe a very costly calculator and a very complicated memory machine, then you will understand how this process is going on in your mind. Whenever you feed some information into the machine, it goes on working as long as you are producing your problems. And if we forget to wipe off the information you have fed long ago into the machine, then whenever you pose a new problem and a new question into the machine, you can forget about the previous information you fed the machine, but the machine never forgets it. It produces the old answers to the new question, and the result is a nonsensical result from the instrument. Then you will be confused why results are very bad in the machine. The truth is not that the results are bad, but your feeding is bad. You forgot wiping off the previous feeding before you began the new mathematical question on the calculator. The same is the machine which you are having with you while healing. So make a good training of the calculators and then be alert in your tackling with the machine. Know how to be quick without being confused. Know how to be very active without being busy. Then you can be a healer. If you are busy, you will be a patient and not a healer. You should be active and you should not be busy. To be busy is a mental disease. To be active is health, mentally and physically. You should be able to understand the difference between being busy and being active. When you are busy, you get exhausted because it is mental disease. You go into self-pity, thinking that you are doing great lots of work every day, and you begin to speak of it with everyone. And your sense that you are doing much work in the day gives you a negative association that which saps away your energy, and you will go weak. So you understand the machine properly, and the methods to apply are not very important, because when you know the rules of the machine, and when you are already when you are spiritually conscious, healing takes place automatically when people come to your presence. When you are sitting in an aeroplane, in silence, the persons who are with you in the plane will be cured. When you are sitting in a railway train, the passengers who are sitting in your row with you will find themselves healed after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. And if anyone was there who was not sleeping for the past few months, from that very night he goes to sleep happily, or sometimes he begins to sleep in the train itself. If you go into the house of some friends or strangers, when something was unhappy in their house for a very long time, when they were feeling that they were unlucky and unfortunate for a very long time, and when there was a strong association in all people in the house that some black magic was done in their house, immediately the spell of the association goes away from their mind in the form of optimism and a thought. And a light begins to glow in their house, not because of your presence, but because the same light is there in their hearts also all these days, but their minds are directed towards their own light once again. This is the method to heal in its real sense. With your smile you can heal people, with your conversation you can heal people, but before that you should be able to conduct conversations in such a way that you will not disappoint or discourage anyone with your conversations, or cause displeasure or disagreeability in anyone. You should gain mastery over your conversations, and whatever sentence and whatever syllable you use should induce only optimism and positivism in others, and it should not create any negative thought current in anyone. Even great doctors and specialists are sometimes behaving like pigs in this matter. They examine the patient when he is suffering and say he is not going to live and this disease is incurable. That means he does not know the fundamentals of how to behave as a doctor. He may be having very great qualifications and diplomas in medicine, but about common sense he is not having even elementary school diploma. To be a healer and a doctor, first we should have the diploma of common sense, and then we should have the diploma of benevolence. Without these two things we can be a big medical practitioner, we can't be a doctor or a healer. So know all these things and begin to heal while you are talking to others and smiling to others and greeting and saying bonjour to others. By your presence, your walk and your talk, you will know that you are healing after some time. When you once know distinctly, the confidence in you makes the power to heal more powerful. Then you will understand that they need not recognize that you have healed them. If the patient does not recognize that you have healed him, then there is no loss to you unless you want to make it a business. Since you are a spiritualist and since you are being trained into yoga and spiritualism, you will never make it a business because you will have your own business or your own profession separately. You cannot sell sacred things like healing or medicine and make it a polluted profession. These are the different requisites and requirements of a healer. Don't give much importance to the various methods of healing, because irrespective of the method, healing takes place through you when it once begins from you. And when the magnetism is properly induced through you, it begins to work and it continues to work. The only thing you have to take care is see that your words or your thoughts or your deeds do not discourage anyone or disappoint anyone or create fear or doubt any jerk in any mind. This is what makes you a real healer. And there is a very good helping agent which helps you as a healer. That is a sense of humor. If you are having a fine sense of humor, does not insult anyone, and it can give you taste and pep to every sentence you speak, so that every one of your sentence will work as a sugar-coated pill to others. People begin to receive your healing better than when you are serious. And after some time you will realize that mental seriousness is not at all required in life. And in your experience you will also understand that serious-minded people are having something wrong with their liver. Because all the things they can achieve can be achieved even without the seriousness of mind. Seriousness of purpose is different from seriousness of mind. Seriousness of purpose is a good plan, and seriousness of mind is a bad liver. So all the seriousness of your mind goes away, and irrespective of your age, you will begin to live like a child, playing a play of healing. This is the actual situation and actual position of a healer, and you can systematize these truths into the science of healing. I don't make any claim over these points because they do not belong to me. They belong to the scriptures of the ancient days. What I have made here is a beautiful presentation of all the rules of healing given by the authors of the ancient scriptures of various nations, and you can use them in any way you want. Don't make any new experiments with healing, and don't believe any new experiments that are being produced in the modern literature because they lack in experience. You may go into troubles along with the author who has written those books. Thank you all. There are some books, literature which is found in the market having conducting many modern experiments without a basis of experience. Such books should not be followed. Real, yes,
Texts, which
represent the scriptures, wisdom of the scriptures. Yes, no, all the scriptures, because they are not people of religion, they are people of spiritualism. In English, now we have one good book which has represented the age-old scientific laws. We can safely read it and put into practice. The name of the book is Esoteric Healing by Alice A. Bailey. But the book does not contain color photographs and many attractions. It requires an amount of patience on our part to go through the book, and also the sentences are very simple, and what is conveyed through the sentence is very, very profound and deep, so that each sentence is equal to a textbook. So an intellectual reading will not impress the reader, but a slow way of reading the book and using the sentences only as channels of thought, not to exhaust away the meaning of the total book, but the book attempts to produce channels of thought into yourself and not into the meaning of the book. There is a special technique with which the book is written. We get at the technique. We may try to attempt to take away all the meaning of the book into us, and sometimes after 2 or 3 pages we have to stop it. So be a bit careful in reading this book. Just as the Holy Bible, if we read it to try to understand what is there in it, we will fail. If we read it to have whatever change that is conducted through the book in us, then we will have success. The difference is like the reading of a book on magnetism and having a magnet in your hand. Cereals. No. As a general rule, uncooked foods heal us, whereas cooked foods do not heal us. No. Cooked cereals is one branch of food. Uncooked cereals is another branch of food without being cooked. Yes. There is a book on raw eating. The author is now more than 80 years, and he is quite young as a man of 40 years, and his wife also lives on raw eating, and he has in the world thousands of disciples who eat uncooked food, and he brought up his daughter without eating any cooked food till now. And she is 24 years old now, and she is very fresh, and she had no disease till now of any type at all. I do not remember exactly the name of the author, but I have a copy of the book with me in India. If Madam is interested, I will send that copy here, so that others may take the address and have a copy of it. And after you will be able to secure your own copies, I can literally take my own copy with me, because I have read the book not less than 12 times. It is a very small book containing reliable, scientific and thoroughly verified information. He gives how to eat uncooked cereals. He gives the procedure, the dishes and the salads, and how to produce, and how to live on vegetable milk produced from fresh roots. All these things. Yogurt also vegetable. Yogurt, vegetable butter, all these things he gives us. And if milk from the cows or animals can be taken, we can take them uncooked and unboiled. Everything is described in detail in the book, and I will send the copy within 2 months to our Maggie.